Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Oh boy, we're gonna have to do. There we go. Hello, happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're gonna be joined by Jose Morales today. He was our national constituency director on Pete for America. Also, just a remarkable human being. And I love chatting with Jose, and I know you all are going to enjoy chatting with Jose today as well. So I did not even have a song queued up. I just rushed into the attic doing chores downstairs. But I'm just going to bring in Jose, and we're going to have a fun chat today. So, waiting.
Oh my God! Hi!
There he is. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Listen.
I get it.
I did the grocery shopping for us and for Anne, Pete's mom, today, and I was like 2 hours, plenty of time, and I just got home. But
No.
I got the refrigerated stuff in the refrigerator. I got here. I was wearing a baseball cap in the grocery store with my mask, which Anne sewed, of course.
Oh my God, Angel.
I know, and I think we're okay though. I think we're ready. We're fine.
Yeah, I am not okay, which is why I have been keeping on my hat, even though I'm not going outdoors. I had a barber appointment the morning that everything shut down. I was like, it'll be fine. I'll go Monday. It'll be chill. I'll finally get like quarantine. And then they were like, hey, we're super excited to not see you all. And I was like, okay.
Quarantine.
It's a new look. I'm not doing well, but I'm definitely giving it the college try.
I love it.
Oh, thank you.
And even if you feel like a slut, you're like, I'm quarantine.
Right?
I'm just living my quarantine life.
It's like, don't. It's just me. It's just me.
So, Jose, I love you, and I think everybody on the campaign loved you. But for those who aren't familiar, will you please just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, and then how you found Pete for America?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in the Bronx and outside of the Bronx, in a small town called Monroe. I spent like half my childhood in each place, so I'm like born and bred New Yorker, which you can't really tell from how much I've tried to undo my accent, but it still comes out every now and again. But when I was going to college was when some like dude from Illinois ran for president and like upended our entire life. So I quickly I went to DC for college. I went to American and I like fell in love with DC. I felt like I really found myself not only very interested in politics, but I found people who kind of felt a lot like me, where we weren't really sure what was happening with the country, but we were like trying to figure it out and trying to be part of something bigger than ourselves, to at the risk of being really cliched. I also came out when I was in college. I had grappled with it a lot when I was in high school. Not really sure what was going on. I think a lot of people say like they've known from an early age. I think I just didn't have the vocabulary. And most of my life, I actually grew up trying to work on having dyslexia. So I've spent a lot of time with language. And then when I got to college, I felt like I found the language. And I was like, okay, this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. And this is what I want to do. So at the end of my collegiate experience, I took a class with Julian Bond and it changed my life. Like, it was the coolest thing. I know, Buddy agrees. I'm like,
Buddy
so
loves college.
I know, that's why we're sisters. I love it. But but it completely changed the way I look at like elections and voting rights and stuff like that. I jumped into politics. And that's why I wanted to be a part of that. I was like, oh, we have to protect our elections and we have to have a lot of force behind it. And then I met Pete, actually, speaking of elections. He was just coming through town because he was running for DNC chair, and I happened to work in the same building. And
Really?
yeah, he was just there, and some people were like, yo, you got to meet this guy. And it's like after 2016, so like the eyes are puffy. I am not quarantine after that. Like, it's not what's happening. And I heard him speak, and I was like, oh, damn. And for 2 years, he just kind of disappeared out of my life. And then I heard he was running for president again. And I was like, I remember seeing this guy at a forum when he ran for chair and being so impressed. One night, I'm just like on Twitter, and he comes out with an endorsement of expanding the Supreme Court. And the Brett Kavanaugh fight and the Neil Gorsuch fights were like so bruising. And so much of our future has been put in jeopardy because of that. To see someone that new to the field who had a lot to lose by not really having an image the way some sitting senators or the vice president did inspired me. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I will do it. I will pack up. I will go. And I applied. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Oh, well, we were so lucky to have you on the campaign. So your role was National Constituency Director.
Yeah.
So can you explain what that meant and what maybe your day-to-day work looked like on the campaign?
Yeah, so the idea behind a constituency team is to purposefully open more doors for the communities that make up the Democratic Party, because so many of us have not had a chance to excel in politics. A lot of us have our own power. It's the ways in which our power has been mitigated or diminished by other people in politics or in government. So my job as constituency director was to advocate for and be part of a team of people who opened the door to making sure Pete had feedback loops with women, people of color, folks who are disabled, undocumented folks, veterans, people of faith, basically going all around the country and trying to find, in the past 3 years, the entire world has changed. And a lot of the people who are part of that change are the people who have not benefited from it. Who are those people? How can we get them in front of Pete? And how can we make them part of the campaign on a day-to-day basis? And this required a very fundamental rethinking of politics. I think a lot of folks think that politics is West Wing and House of Cards, but it's really deep. So trying to make which I will take on. Okay. So we wanted to make sure, even though it could be like haha goofy, we were dealing with some really heavy things. So we spent a lot of time on the phone talking to people, trying to convince them, yes, we are real people. Yes, we work for Pete. And we just want to sit down with you. We want to talk to you. We want to know what your priorities are for the next White House. And something I adopted very quickly after having our first meetings with Pete, is he says, what am I missing? So what are you not hearing from me, from the field, from my fellow competitors? What are we missing? And that was the large role of the constituency team, is to find the people who felt like they were missing.
And you had such a hard job, you and your team, because Pete was so new on the scene. I mean, yes. When we entered the race, he had 0% name recognition. We also had no money in the bank. Mm-hmm. And you had to go out there and essentially introduce him to an entire country, whereas some of his competitors had, 40, 50 years of experience and name recognition. Yeah. And you handled it so beautifully. And I was so surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised, but I love seeing in my mentions and in the DMs and the questions people submitted, they would say, like, not a question, but I just want to say I had a wonderful conversation with Jose in San Francisco, or I loved when Jose gave our group a call. So, just on behalf of Peter and I, thanks again for everything that you did, because you had such a heavy load to lift, and you did it beautifully. Now, we have to talk about something else.
Okay.
I have to pull up a video.
Okay.
And you're going to explain what's happening in this video.
Okay. If it's a music video, I've seen everything. But oh, God. Okay.
I don't know if you heard. I don't know if everyone could hear this. But Pete's like, you don't want to see me dance. But that is what I loved about you so much, because you brought so much joy.
Oh my God.
To the race. But what's happening in that video?
Okay, so here's the story. We are at the South Carolina Democratic Party convention, and it is like one of the earliest cattle calls. So this is back in the day where half the country was running for president. So it is, you are managing the logistics of like your own life, and you are running into the logistics of everyone else's life. And we had been at the convention, I think, for 2 days at that point. So I am already like, I've got designer bags under my eyes. It is hot as, fill in your thing here. And I'm just like, I'm basically losing it. And it finally becomes time for Pete to address the entire convention. And it's his like biggest moment in South Carolina to date. And the thing that I love about South Carolina is like beyond like its people and its food is like they played the best music the whole time. And
Yes.
when I get very nervous, I can't stop moving. Like I'm just, it's like something has happened to me. So Nina Smith, the traveling press secretary, myself, and Pete's traveling team are just standing behind there. And I don't know what song is playing, but Nina starts Millie rocking. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. I need something to do with my hands. And I'm standing next to Pete, and I was like, when I get nervous, I move a lot. And he didn't hear me. So now I feel like an idiot because I'm just like really small because he's like in the zone. He's like, I've got this. I'm like really good at what I do. Right, exactly. And I'm like, well, I'm 3 children in a trench coat, so let's do this. So Nina and I start dancing, but the videographer only sees me. So behind me is Nina, and Pete's tried really hard not to be fazed by me, but then he sees Nina doing it, and I was like, you have to join. And then he was like, nobody wants to see me dance. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it's this encapsulation of like 5 seconds of where the nerves completely like start to bubble up, but he's cool as a cucumber.
He's always cool as a cucumber. It drives me nuts. And that's why I think you and I hit it off so well. And then backstage at so many events because I can't stay still either. So, you know, I'd always be like asking Emily, like, give me a heads up because I'm going to pace the whole building.
Right.
And then let me know when I need to come out. Ridiculous. And he's always like standing like with his thumb right
Right.
here.
He's like,
yeah. Ridiculous. I see everyone up in the comments about the Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi. Can you see me clearly?
I can see you clearly, and I can hear you fine. So.
Oh, well, see, maybe it's their Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Have you ever stopped to think the problem might be?
Maybe the problem is me.
Okay, so I have so many things to ask you about. One, because you're an incredible talent, and then 2, because you're up to date on pop culture much more. So let's first talk about so many things happening around the country. And Tara submitted a question: how can we help critical down ballot races in states like Wisconsin if we don't live there? Do you have any advice for Tara?
Yeah, I have a ton. First of all, create a Twitter account if you don't have one. A lot of the way that information is like rapidly moving is through that very contentious mudslinging website. But the executive director of all of these parties throughout the state have such a lens on what's going on. And like, I have to shout out the Wisconsin Democratic Party for working with people like Swing Left and their Indivisible chapters. The day that Governor Evers was like, we need to move the election, we need to take care of these people, it set off such a quick chain of events and people got really confused. But Ben Wickler over at the party and other people who have been doing a lot of the work down there quickly operationalized and said, we need to operate as if the election is going to happen tomorrow, which it did. So it proves that these people on the ground knew what could happen and they had the infrastructure in place. So if you go on Twitter or if you're on Facebook, a lot of these state parties and their personalities and the people who run them have accounts. Stay up to date on what they're doing and what their needs are. Also, I know that a lot of people had a lot of trepidation about jumping on the phones, but now more than ever, people are actually being more responsive to talking to folks on the phone. A lot of us are making sacrifices right now, and it would be really outside of your comfort zone to call a stranger. You're like, I don't know, like, I'm not their area code, all that stuff. This is a sacrifice that's needed. Jumping out of your comfort zone is what's needed. And those down ballot races, you can have a monumental effect on just calling 15 people. Because think about what Greta built at PFA. The relational organizing model was really strong for not only expanding our reach, but strengthening the bond. So if you are talking to somebody in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, or somebody up in Madison, and they're saying, I got a call from somebody who's telling me there's a race on Tuesday, I didn't even know that. They tell somebody else in their household who trusts them. And you can have a maximum effect. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. You know what I mean? Like, we learned that age when we were younger. So by following those people on Twitter and getting on the phones, it's never been more needed.
Absolutely. I will continuously shout it from the rooftops that you don't win an election by talking at people. You win an election by talking with people. Yes. And so while you can amplify things on social media accounts, amplify things that you love on Twitter, you got to jump on the phones or phone banking and text banking to talk with people.
Yes.
Because if you're only relying on saying something on Twitter, you're just talking at people. And
Yeah,
we need to
exactly.
have more authentic connections. And now more than ever, which I'm sure Stefan would agree, this is a digital election.
Oh,
And this
100%.
election is going to require us putting in a lot of elbow grease on those phones and texts.
100%. I literally could not agree with you more. And Stefan had been saying that before the virus. There,
Oh,
so
yeah.
much of our interactions are moving to the digital space. Whether you have a judgment value on that is kind of irrelevant. We need to operate there. And that's why I think the rules of the road were so important. It's really easy to be nasty and condescending and pithy on like choose your platform, but the rules of the road
Yeah.
really governed the way we lived our lives on and offline, and it's important.
Right. Yeah. Do you think we should have Stefan on? Is he around?
I don't know. What is she doing? I'm gonna text her. Give me 1 sec.
I look forward to having Stefan on. I hope he'll come on next week.
That'll be good. Yeah.
We need to dial in on what this election looks like. And his podcast the other day was phenomenal.
Oh my God, it was so good. So good.
We like him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Alex asks, and we're going to get a little bit more personal now.
Okay.
What did it mean to you as a gay man to be working for the first major gay candidate in American history?
It was everything. It was a moment that was really easy to forget sometimes, and parts of that scared me. I think a lot of my experience of like being out, being queer, and operating in this space in some ways is still being written. I didn't think we'd move back after Obama. I never thought I'd come out. I never thought a bunch of these things. I've basically been wrong at every turn. And for some of it, it's for the best. And I also never really met a lot of queer people from the Midwest when I was out east. I've spent my entire life in New York and DC and some towns in between. And what it meant to see kind of the family growing and it creating leaders of people who I thought I would have never met. The idea was sometimes too big. It would be too monumental. It literally felt historical in a moment that would be completely innocuous. Like we'd be driving in the car somewhere, like going between Houston and Austin. We'd be backstage by like a party convention, and that's when it would hit. Sometimes it wasn't even necessarily about him talking about how excited he was to be married to you, because so much of that stuff were things I had told myself I wasn't going to have. So don't want it. Don't run after it. Stay the straight and narrow and keep going so that you can be successful, and then those doors will open. And I think he has redefined success in a really, really important way. When I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of and work with a lot of LGBTQ orgs, and I know you did like tour de forces of folks who are helping queer people who are homeless, who need access to better healthcare, some who are just trying to raise a family. And Pete was so sure that we could get it right that it almost scared me, because I had spent a lot of my life questioning. And part of the experience of working for him, being openly and authentically queer in a way that I had not seen, was that I basically have given up searching for the answers because it's very clear that there's no answer. And it was just to do the work ahead. And that's how I got through those monumental moments. But even when I look back on it now, it's like a gay person won the Iowa caucuses. Like a gay person ran for president and redefined the party. And that was the debut of our generation.
Yeah.
That was the opening act. And it was a hell of an opening act. I don't think I'll ever forget it.
I'm glad you were there with us along the way. Something that quite a few people asked about, and I contemplated not going there, but I think it's really important that if we're willing to be vulnerable, that we share our truths and we share our experiences. And, many times along the way, our campaign was criticized for not being gay enough. Mm-hmm. And that never really hurt me as much as it hurt me in the way that I knew that there were hundreds of queer people working on our campaign,
Yeah.
and what that must have felt like for people on our campaign to be identified as somebody whose identity doesn't count or doesn't matter or doesn't count enough. And I'm wondering what that felt like for you.
I think that was probably some of the most painful moments. But you also, I want to go back to something you said at the top where it's like talking with people. And one thing you learn very quickly is like, basically, if you're a cisgender man and you pass as like not being queer, so many doors are open to you. And what that meant in our current condition was a revisiting of a lot of trauma that we go through before we come out. The idea that like at the hands of some people whose voices were very deep or had a lot of physical authority in a space, you suffer a lot of psychological and sometimes physical trauma. And over the past few years, people who have kind of put gender roles to the side and left all of that behind them and have moved confidently into who they can be have redefined what it means to be a part of the family and part of the community. And I think what scared some people were the fact that he wasn't like a lot of the folks like me who grew up in a city who were very happily like, I can be very feminine, I really love Drag Race, I don't stop screaming about Dua Lipa, and that's like my queer experience. But also like, look at me and you'll see someone who's pretty racially ambiguous. I also know what it's like to say you don't belong to one of that or the other. And Pete's perseverance and then victory in Iowa and ability to go on is probably actually one of the testaments about what it is to be queer. It's not that life is going to be easy. Actually, it's quite plain that life will be hard if you come out, but it's worth it. You still win. And the diversity of this community still has to grapple with the fact that parts of us have not stood up for the other parts of us. So let that lead to an interrogation of how we can be better allies for the people for whom we're walking through doors and seeing rooms they can't come in. Let that be part of the mission. Don't internalize it. And also know that a lot of people have come from pain and bring that to politics.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is so important. Right. That really resonates. That makes me think specifically about one of the LGBTQ centers I visited. I believe we were in Tennessee, but we visited so many they all start to blur. But I remember sitting down at the table. And, for me, for people who don't know my backstory, I ran away from home when I came out. I was terrified of losing everything. For so long, I remember feeling like politicians and people in positions of power don't care about me. They'll never fight for me. To where I, was so standoffish, but, anything related to politics. And then, fast forward, here I am traveling to these centers, sitting down at tables with their boards and some of their residents and guests, and representing my husband's presidential campaign. And I remember sitting at this table with some teens who identified as transgender. And when we had gone around the table and introduced ourselves and why we were there, and I kind of gave the pitch about, I'm here representing my husband, but really I'm not here to talk at you, I'm here to listen. Mm-hmm. And some of the teenagers didn't even want to talk. And it seemed that they came to the table already so, like their mind had been made up that I was not there to help. That because I was in that position and because I was representative of a campaign or a politician or a person of privilege, that I was not there to help. And I remember just sitting there feeling like, I remember what it felt like to sit in that pain. Mm-hmm. And now more than ever, it's just so important that we get it right. We just have to get it right. And now that we have a candidate, this election, it's either, pro LGBTQ or not. And it's such a clear decision. Mm-hmm. And for me out there in the field, I know I'm rambling a bit, but just meeting people where they're at who don't have the LGBTQ experience of living in Brooklyn or in San Francisco, they're in Kansas and they're in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, or they're just trying to get by in Tennessee or Arkansas. And just being able to say I'm gay is enough to get you killed in some areas of the which I felt like many people who criticized the campaign did not understand. And so I'm sorry that you had to bear that burden as well. But you know, we just we carry on, I guess.
And that's the thing, is like, if that's the pain that I go through, like as a cisgender man who was lucky enough to be on this campaign, I had to hold it, because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I don't know what it's like to be trans. I don't know what it's like to be in a chair.
Right.
I don't know what it's like to be undocumented. So I think at first I did view it as a burden, and then I took it as a charge. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, every day I have to wake up and I have to do something for women. I have to do something for trans folks. And I mean, I also grew up Christian, you know? So a lot of that is still really ingrained in me, and I'm still very happily a Christian. But so much of it is about what you do and not say. And I will let that work speak for itself, because it doesn't need validation from anyone else. It's just supposed to help the communities, and that's what you have to do.
I love that. Yeah, I really love that, Jose. I was so surprised how many times I'd sit at a table and say, "Talk to me," and people were so taken aback because I think they were so used to people rolling in and giving their pitch,
Yeah.
talking about the candidate, you know, and then rolling out, like taking the photo op and leaving. And for me, I would roll up into these centers and be like, I don't know what it means to be Black and trans and a
Right.
teenager living in the middle of the desert. So like, please enlighten me and tell me what you need, and tell me what you need out of government and how the White House can get it right, and what you want to see in a president. And I think it's a testament to what some people in positions of power miss, that sometimes the best work you can do is just listening.
Boom. 100%. 100%.
All right. You want to lighten it up a little bit?
Let's do it. Let's be bad.
Okay. All right. I compiled a list of rapid response questions, both from submissions and from intensive Googling.
Oh, no.
I know. There was legitimately an article. It was like, am I gay enough? Take this quiz to find out. And I was like, oh.
Yes. You did it.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Brittany or Mariah?
Stop pitting powerful women against each other. Next question.
I love you. Favorite White Claw?
Mango.
Oh. The hardest part of isolation?
Being an extrovert.
This was an actual submitted question. Best song by The Killers?
I'm legally obliged to say Mr. Brightside, but it's like in the Olympics when they're separated by 100th of a second. It's like, are you really number 2 to number 1? Like, it's not. So I'll just say all of Hot Fuss, half of Sam's Town, and then another half of their most recent album. That's all one.
I'm gonna let the internet respond to that. Okay. Grow the hair or cut it off? In general, not for me, just for anyone.
This might be our one chance to grow it out and just see what happens without social repercussion. So go ahead, girl. It's your life.
All right. Favorite food on the campaign trail?
Oh my God. Tacos El Gordo in Vegas. They have 3 locations, but we took Pete there. And listen, the lines are worth it. They're worth it. You have to line up based on what you want. So you have to decide ahead of time, which is an incredible marketing scheme, because you're just thinking about those tacos forever. Oh my God.
I love that. Place is so good. Okay. I lost my spot. Best bop of 2019.
Oh crap. Oh no. I'm gonna get. I think no. I'm gonna say something like slightly controversial, and I know it's gonna get me in trouble. But I can't remember if Ariana's album came out in 2019, because like my brain has turned to mush over that year. Like, it's like, did it come out in 2019 or was I 15 years old? So did Thank You Next come out in early 2019 or was it late 2018?
Let's find out. Why doesn't it give me a year? 2019, February 8th, 2019.
February 8th, 2019. Okay. 7 Rings was that girl. She really did what other people weren't doing. I love it. I'm so sorry.
Okay, we're bad at rapid.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, who was your favorite teacher and why?
Oh, Mr. Bush. He was my AP US history teacher. He 100% knew I was gay in high school, and he made me. He was like, I don't know what you're doing with this, but like, you just got to get it together. And he made me run for a student council and that was like my first political thing I ever did. So when I got to like my senior year of high school, I had like begun my civics education because of him.
That's lovely.
Yeah, he's
Aren't
great.
teachers wonderful? Favorite musical?
I've heard. Favorite musical?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be cliche and say Hamilton. It's got so much Puerto Rican like representation. Like,
I love that. I'm so pumped for In the Heights.
girl.
The movie. I forget.
No, I
forget
will be
what
there at midnight.
movie.
I will be there at midnight.
Oh, can I come? Hopefully.
Yeah, sure. I might be busy though. I don't know.
Okay. Whatever. I'm moving on. Okay. Peter's walkout song versus my walkout song. I don't think a lot of people got to come to my events. My walkout song was "Cut to the Feeling" by Carly.
I know.
Who had the better
I
walkout
know.
song?
It was you. Please don't tell your husband.
Thank you so much. Did you hear that?
No.
Okay. Biggest misconception about the 2020 election?
Biggest misconception that being right is the same thing as organizing voters.
Write that down. Okay, last one. Is Stefan watching right now?
She better be. I saw her mouthing off in the comments, but she won't come and fight me, so I know that's a problem.
Oh, I love it. So, my friend, what are you planning on doing next? Anything on the horizons, or what do you look forward to doing in the future?
So I want to stay involved in the voting rights fight for sure. I think stuff that's been going on over the past week has been extremely concerning. There's been a lot of talk about like, can Trump shut down the election and stuff like that? No, he can't. But they will be making this as hard as possible. So I don't think I'm done with this cycle. But forever and always, I'm gonna be try to be the biggest megaphone. I got a loud ass voice too, so I'll try as hard as I can to talk about these down ballot races. I've been seeing people, you know, even people in like, you know, people that we met who were like, you know, if Pete's not the nominee, I'm not going to turn out. And I'm telling you right now, like, you are absolutely jeopardizing my future if you don't do that. So I'm going to talk to people about the incredible Senate candidates we have, holding and expanding the House, but also these state legislatures. Like, so many of these crappy bills about voter ID and restricting abortion or eliminating abortion, these happen in the state House. Our governors are our first line of defense, but we actually have to get people in there. So that's going to be something I want to focus on in my free time. I also... I haven't cooked this much in my damn life, and I am over it. No, I'm over it. Y'all do this every day. How? So I'll learn to be patient, I guess. Like, damn.
Have you been cooking something regularly?
Not the same dish regularly, but each day I cook something. So I tried to do like breakfast situations, but I'm literally a monster without coffee. Even to myself, I'm like, why are you like this?
Breakfast situations.
Because sometimes it's just cereal out of the mixing bowl, because it's like, it'd be like that.
Oh, for sure.
But I am also like, you eat like crap on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is self-care. Like, this
I
is...
had a vegetable the other day, and it was delicious.
Yes. Oh, I love what lettuce is doing. Like, oh, incredible. So I'm trying to find like healthier ways to eat and be more self-sufficient, because I realized, I think there was a meme going around. I actually might have sent it to you. It was like, this was a really bad time to realize that my two hobbies were going out and seeing my friends. So.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you want to do as we like move through the rest of the year, not knowing basically anything that could happen, but like, what are your hopes, dreams, aspirations?
Oh, honestly, I'm just enjoying doing nothing. I love having these chats, just, you know, bringing people together and spreading some kindness and some happiness. Right now, I think I'm almost caught up on sleep. I mean, it's been a good month, but like,
is that on Netflix? I'm not familiar.
Never heard of it. Like, and the thing that Pete's being really kind and generous about both of us being on very different routines.
Hmm.
So for him, if he doesn't have a routine, it's worse. Like even if it's leisure time, like he has to know, like, I'm going to schedule time for reading. I'm going to schedule
Yeah.
time to walk the dog. We're going to work out at 4 o'clock today. And for me, like the going from 100 miles an hour on the campaign trail to zero was so abrupt that like I'm just this week starting to be able to like do some journaling and writing and sort of, going through my thoughts about the campaign, and like even having chats with friends has been really hard because I still feel like that campaign pull,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like we have to do something next. So I don't know, right now I'm just kind of enjoying figuring it out. We've always wanted to be dads, and now we have the time. So I'm very slowly starting to start that research. Um, and like we're doing a ton of projects around the house. So like
Yeah.
we've moved like every room, and that's it. Like I'm just focusing on that.
Good.
Big picture, who the heck knows? I
Yeah.
mean,
I don't. I keep saying I'm gonna do these projects. Like I have these like posters right here that have been in just sitting there since October, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get
what?
around to do it. And then I sit on TikTok for 2 hours.
That's
But you
okay.
could never do that on the campaign trail. There was always an email to be answered, a ball that might have been dropped, or you're like, oh my God, I haven't had water since the winter. Somebody help.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to like think about
Water
those,
since winter, is that what you said?
maybe, I don't know, the Wi-Fi is really bad here. So the, but you don't get the chance to think about those big things that actually define life, like being a parent. Like
Yeah.
you just are go, and like tending to a home. So I hope you milk all of those moments for what it's worth.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
I will continuously say this every day, because I think new people come on the chat, but like, stop putting so much pressure on yourself to like exit quarantine as like the best version of yourself. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care if you perfect sourdough. I don't care if you come out of it with a beach body. Like, please just take care of yourself, your mental health, the health of the people around you. Like, who needs, like, you don't have to do anything. And I think it is so okay to just focus on being okay. Like, if you
Yep.
want to it's a lot of like anxiety inducing fear right now, right? Just go sit on
Yes.
the couch in your sweatpants and drink rosé at 3 p.m. Leave me alone, Peter.
I,
Do it, you know? Do your thing.
you really just read me on this IG live. Okay, okay. Um, I have never, listen, I'm somebody who's dealt with an anxiety disorder for years. So when this started happening, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Panicking every day, like whatever. But what's been really hard is like in a lot of moments where your personal mental health feels like it's at risk, you can kind of turn to some people and rely on each other, right? Like we could have like a private chat backstage where like I'm really nervous, and then like you would give someone a pep talk, and I was like, okay, great. It's the fact that we're all going through this together that kind of compounds the fear, because those people who like are working on their mental health are also the first people to say, I don't want to bother nobody. I don't want to be a burden. Somebody's probably going through it worse than me. Somebody's got it like really hard. And it's like, this is what solidarity means. It means to hold each other in this moment and say, whatever you've brought today, whether it's the worst version of yourself you've seen, a $5 glass of rosé, or just like the blanket that you wrap yourself in when you watch Netflix, that's good. That's good. Because
Yeah.
living right now is really, really, really hard. Um, I just want to like commend, I know like Pete talked to Dr. Cass, aka Dara, like love of my life. I think of her every day. And one of
Yeah.
the things that comes up to me is like, maybe I shouldn't bother her. But I've also been thinking about, we were talking the morning before Pete dropped. And that night when I was in San Francisco and you were back in South Bend, I was thinking all I wanted to do was be around you and other people. So that's what we did. It was a bunch of us who were so proud of him after the speech, but in that in between where it was really scary, just kind of held each other
Sure.
and just sat at a bar and had tacos, and that counted as winning that day. So let those small things be victories. Enjoy that nothing time.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I I went out and started our sprinkler system yesterday. I know I'm basically a handyman, and
Yeah.
I walked outside like barefoot and was like trying to fix the sprinkler heads, and I had this moment, and it's kind of cheesy, but like feeling my bare feet in the grass. I haven't done that in like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and it was
Oh
just like,
man.
oh my god, I can just be here now and enjoy
Yeah.
this moment. I think we all just need to just be okay with our feet in the grass. Like that can
Oh my
be
God. Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
So
That is.
I have kept you far too long, my friend.
Yes,
I
I'm
have
so busy. Stop. Oh my God.
rapid round, please. I've been asking everyone, what are you reading? What are you watching? Any suggestions for the rest of us?
Okay, what I'm reading right now is How the States Got Their Shape. I'm very cool. It's a nonfiction piece about the boundaries of the states. And it's actually really, really very interesting,
That's
talking about all that. What I'm watching right now is La Casa de Papel, which is about 8 robbers who try to rob the mint of Spain. And what was the other question? What am I reading? What am I watching?
suggestion if you're making anything. Just what are you
Oh,
doing?
I'm trying to learn how to make, I'm working my way up to learning how to make macarons, which are my favorite dessert. Different from macaroons, the coconut ones. But because I know people have opinions, but I'm right.
Not
So,
on here. This is social media.
so I've been trying to make that. I've been trying to cook more Puerto Rican dishes, but stuff's hard to come by, obviously, in supermarkets. Um, I'm also trying to exercise more. I've been a dancer for years, so trying to do workouts here at home, in my living room, rearranging the furniture like I'm some wine mom in the burbs is incredible right now. And yeah, that's the goal, girl. Like,
I I'm drawing a blank, but there's this amazing person on Instagram right now. Is it Ryan Heffington? Is that his name? Who's
no, it's
doing these?
Jose Morales, but it was close. It was close though. You were mad close. It was good.
Sorry, who's doing these like wonderful dance live streams, which are so
Oh,
fun.
nice. I want to check
Yeah,
it out.
check that out.
Uh,
Okay,
to remind me.
I gotta go. I'm so busy. I have like a million things to
I
do
know
today.
she's booked. She's busy. I get it. I get it.
I appreciate you, and I loved working.
Likewise.
It was such a privilege working with you, and I will always be on your team.
There have been very punctuated moments on the campaign where you were more than a lifeline. Like, you are such a delight and you are everything I think people think you are on the internet. And so many people in politics can be Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. But
Mm.
it's no wonder you were an amazing teacher because you taught us a lot about staying sane. So thank you,
Oh,
like from the bottom of my heart.
well, thank you. It was a phenomenal team. We were all so lucky. So enjoy whatever comes next.
Thank you. I'll
And
be sure to let folks know whenever that is, whatever that is. But I will see you around the bend.
sounds good. Stay quarantined.
Oh, stop it. Look at you.
I'll see you
Bye.
soon,
Thanks for
friend.
having me. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today. That's Jose Morales. Follow him on Twitter or Instagram. He's wonderful. I hope we'll have more folks, lovely, lovely folks from Peak for America on that. I'd love to introduce you to talented, intelligent, loving people that truly built this community. I hope you're being kind to yourself today. Take a moment to take care of yourself, like Jose and I were saying. It's okay to just be okay. Tomorrow I'll be joined by Nick Ferroni. If you follow him on Twitter or Instagram, he's a teacher out in New Jersey who's been doing some phenomenal things with teachers nationwide. And I'm looking forward to talking to him about teaching in this digital culture right now, tips for parents, tips for teachers, and also just highlighting all of the wonderful work teachers are doing right now. So I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget, I know my mom's watching right now. Call your mom.